Those who fear Jehovah listen to the voice of his servant, Jesus. Welcome to Treasures from God's Word. Join us as we explore the riches of the Bible.
Please subscribe. Listen to the one whom God taught. Imagine learning from the greatest teacher in existence. Not from a university professor, not from a famous speaker, but directly from the creator of the universe. How valuable would that education be? Today, people spend years studying experts. They watch tutorials, attend seminars, and follow influencers because they want reliable guidance for life. Yet many still feel confused about decisions, relationships, and the future. Why? Because human instruction has limits. Jehovah, however, chose one perfect student, his own son, and personally trained him. And today, Jehovah invites us to listen to the one whom he taught. Let us consider how Jehovah trained Jesus, how Jesus responded to that training, and how we can imitate that same attitude. Jehovah personally taught his son. Please think about the prophecy recorded at Isaiah 54:5. This prophecy gives us a touching glimpse into something that happened long before Jesus came to earth, during his prehuman existence. It describes Jehovah as awakening his son morning by morning to teach him. What a beautiful word picture. It is like a loving teacher gently waking a willing student early each day because important lessons await. Jehovah was not merely giving instructions occasionally, he was providing consistent, daily training. In that heavenly school, Jehovah taught Jesus what to say, how to speak, and how to reach hearts. Later, Jesus confirmed this at John 12:49, saying that he did not speak of his own initiative, but spoke exactly what his Father taught him. Think about what this means. Before Jesus healed the sick, before he calmed storms, before he preached the good news, he was first a listener. Jehovah trained him for the ministry he would carry out on earth. And when Jesus finally came to earth, people noticed something different about him. His teaching had authority, compassion, clarity, and wisdom, because its source was Jehovah himself. Practical application. What lesson do we learn? Effective ministry begins with listening to Jehovah. Sometimes we may feel pressured to rely only on personal ability, our speaking skills, personality, or experience. But spiritual success does not come from talent. It comes from being taught by Jehovah. How do we allow Jehovah to teach us today? Through personal Bible reading, through Christian meetings, through meditation on spiritual material, through applying what we learn in ministry. Just as Jehovah trained Jesus before sending him out, Jehovah trains us before we speak. Jesus learned eagerly. Now notice another important point from Isaiah 55. It says that the servant did not rebel or turn away. Jesus was not forced to learn. He learned eagerly. Jehovah's training even included learning about suffering, the rejection, opposition, and pain Jesus would face as the Messiah. Yet Jesus never resisted instruction. He trusted his Father completely. And when Jesus came to earth, that eagerness continued. The Bible tells us in Luke 4:16 that Jesus attended the synagogue regularly. This was his custom. In Luke 19:47, we learn that he taught daily at the temple. Think about that. If anyone could have said, "I already know enough," it was Jesus. Yet he continued attending places of worship and learning environments arranged by Jehovah's everyday application for us. Today, Jehovah provides spiritual education through Christian meetings. Sometimes, after a long workday or stressful week, attending meetings may feel challenging. We may feel tired or distracted. But ask yourself, if the perfect Son of God valued regular worship and instruction, how much more do we need it? Meetings refresh our thinking, they correct our viewpoint, they strengthen our love for Jehovah. Many brothers and sisters have experienced this. They arrive at a meeting feeling discouraged, but leave encouraged, peaceful, and spiritually stronger. That happens because Jehovah is still teaching his servants today. Attending meetings is not merely routine, it is enrolling ourselves daily in Jehovah's school. Those who fear Jehovah listen to Jesus. Now let us consider Isaiah 50:10, which asks, "Who among you fears Jehovah and listens to the voice of his servant?" That servant is Jesus. Jehovah trained Jesus so that humanity would have a perfect guide. Therefore, listening to Jesus equals listening to Jehovah. Jesus himself said at John 10:27, "My sheep listen to my voice." Notice, true followers are identified not just by belief, but by listening. Listening involves more than hearing words. It means adjusting our life according to Jesus' direction. What does listening to Jesus mean today? It means showing love even when offended. Remaining honest when dishonesty seems easier. Continuing in ministry even when people show little interest. Trusting Jehovah during uncertainty. For example, when Jesus taught forgiveness, he was reflecting Jehovah's thinking.
So when we forgive someone in the congregation or family, we are listening to the one taught by God. When Jesus emphasized preaching the good news, supporting the ministry shows that we accept his training. Every act of obedience proves whose voice we follow. For meditation, wanabetate. Pekasing. Jesus, eagerness. 1 Peter 2:21 reminds us that Jesus left us a model to follow closely. So we might ask ourselves, how can I imitate Jesus' eagerness to be trained by Jehovah? Consider a few personal questions. Do I approach Bible study as an obligation or as an opportunity to learn from Jehovah? Do I prepare for meetings expecting Jehovah to teach me something specific? Am I willing to accept counsel, even when adjustment is needed? Do I apply what I learn immediately as Jesus did? Eagerness shows itself through action. A willing student looks forward to instruction, and Jehovah loves teaching willing students. As we conclude, let us reflect once more on the beautiful relationship described in Isaiah chapter 50. Long before humans existed, Jehovah lovingly trained his firstborn son. Morning by morning, Jesus listened. He absorbed Jehovah's thinking, Jehovah's feelings, and Jehovah's way of dealing with people. That training shaped everything Jesus later did on earth. When people listened to Jesus, they were really hearing Jehovah's thoughts expressed perfectly. And that remains true today. We live in a world filled with noise. Every day, voices compete for our attention. Social media opinions, workplace pressures, entertainment, political viewpoints, and popular trends. Each voice claims to offer happiness or success, but many who follow those voices still feel lost, anxious, or uncertain about the future. Why? Because none of those voices were trained by Jehovah. Only Jesus was. That is why Jehovah himself said regarding his son, "Listen to him." Listening to Jesus is not simply a religious activity reserved for meetings or ministry. It affects everyday life. It influences how we treat our marriage mate after a disagreement, how patiently we respond to our children, how honestly we work when no one is watching, how courageously we continue preaching even when people seem indifferent. Every day presents opportunities to prove whose voice we truly follow. And sometimes, listening to Jesus requires effort. There may be moments when Jehovah's guidance seems different from what feels natural. Forgiving someone may feel difficult. Maintaining moral cleanness may set us apart from coworkers. Remaining spiritually focused in a distracted world may require sacrifice. Yet remember, Jesus himself listened to Jehovah even when the training included learning about suffering and hardship. He trusted that his Father's guidance always led to the best outcome. And it did. Because Jesus listened perfectly, he now serves as our compassionate King, High Priest, and Shepherd. At John 10:27, Jesus said, "My sheep listen to my voice." Notice he did not say his sheep listen occasionally. They recognize his voice consistently. Think about sheep and their shepherd. Sheep feel safe because they know the shepherd's voice protects them from danger and leads them to nourishment. Likewise, when we listen to Jesus, we are protected spiritually. His teachings guide us away from harmful choices and lead us toward peace, unity, and lasting happiness. So perhaps each of us can ask, when I face decisions, whose voice do I hear first? When challenges arise, whose guidance do I trust most? When life becomes overwhelming, do I listen to Jesus? The encouraging truth is this: Jehovah is still teaching people today. Every time we open the Bible, every time we attend a meeting, every time we apply Bible counsel, we are allowing ourselves to be taught by the same grand instructor who trained his son. What an extraordinary privilege! And imagine the future reward. Very soon, under Christ's kingdom rule, all humanity will benefit fully from Jehovah's education. No confusion, no misleading voices, no harmful instruction, only perfect guidance from the one whom God taught. Those listening to Jesus now are preparing to live forever under that loving instruction. So may we never lose our eagerness to learn. May we attend meetings ready to be taught. May we approach personal study with appreciation. May we listen carefully to Jesus' direction in our ministry and daily conduct. If we continue to listen to the one whom God taught, we will draw closer to Jehovah now, enjoy peace of mind in this troubled world, and gain the priceless blessing of everlasting life under Jehovah's loving care. So let us remain attentive students, listening, learning, and loyally following the voice of Jesus Christ, the one whom Jehovah himself taught.
Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven.